Tell me what's your point of view? What's your point of view? Tell me what's your point of view? It is your view. Point of view. Point of view. What's your point of view? It's time to hear from you. Welcome to Point of View. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Vision Video Production Studio. I am here with my friend, my sister, Stacey. How are you doing today?
I am so blessed, Amanda. I am blessed.
Well, I am glad to have you here. When we speak, it's always informative. It's always empowering. So the people that may not be familiar with who Stacey is, give them some information about yourself.
Well, my name is Stacey Lloyd, a.k.a. Stacey GOLDMIND. Discover your gold mine. I am a life coach. I am a transformational thinking professional. And people are like, what does that mean? I have the ability to assist you with transforming the way you think, from negative to positive, from positive to even more positive, just so you can live a life on purpose and with purpose. I am the author of I Can Do It. I'm in law enforcement. I'm a college professor. I am a leader. I think I like to call myself one of the champions of change to assist children with living life on purpose. So that's just a little bit about me.
That is just a little bit. She has a lot going on, but as you can see, she has just her background lets you know she has a wealth of knowledge. So you have made a comment on my page and you emphasized gold diggers. How did you come up with that concept? I just love it. So it just rings in my ear. I was like, I love it. Speaking that positive.
Yes.
And if you ain't, trying to reach a goal, after you say it, it just seems like it stirs up something.
Yes.
What made you think about that concept?
I'm always talking to people about the importance of having a goal, because a goal actually gives you something to look forward to. It allows you to have vision and have purpose, but it takes effort, and you have to work to get to that point. And I was thinking gold digger, and they're in there and they understand that when they're looking for gold, they're looking for a treasure. They're looking for something valuable. And I said, guess what? When you set goals, you are looking for treasure. You are looking for something that's valuable, because it enhances your skill sets, your abilities, your knowledge, your self-worth, your self-esteem. It makes you more marketable. It makes you relevant. So being a gold digger is even greater than being a gold digger, because if you have a goal to get to gold, then that's what you're going to search for. So the goal is even greater than the treasure, because you're going to learn so much as you go and you're going to obtain so much at the end. So I said gold digger, because it causes you to keep searching and keep doing what you have to do to get that real treasure. Gold digger. Yes.
I love it. So in your experience and the different events that you go to, as far as on reflecting on gold diggers, what are some of the things that keep people from pursuing or reaching their goals?
I think one of the main things, and I just learned this term from this author. His first name is Todd, and I apologize. He has a book that I can't recall his last name today, but he has a book called The End of Average, living in a world of basically sameness. I think what stops people from going is we all have this standardized way of being, from the school system, from our household, from society in general. So they have this standardized way that you should be and things that you should shoot for. So people have a fear of trying anything because they don't understand where they supposed to fit in. They don't even understand what they should be reaching for. And the things that they're reaching for is not connected with their purpose. So it causes them to not try to do anything, because nobody, for the most part, when you were a kid, nobody was really there to find out what this person's purpose in life really was and to help bring those things. When we're connected to our purpose, then we don't care if we don't possess the skill set. We're going to do whatever it takes to get there. But because we have this standardized way of being, like this pension system mindset, people are afraid to really go after it and live outside the box. And it's because of this sameness that we that we live in. But when I talk to people who have sought to obtain a particular goal, even trying to attend college, they have a fear of failure. And nobody ever explained to them the importance of failure. Because listen to this, Amanda, and you have this studio, you have your show, but this doesn't happen overnight. And I'm quite sure that there were obstacles in your way, and you failed at some point along the way, but you learned how to overcome those obstacles. Some people have a fear of failure, not realizing that failure shows you what you don't know. It just gives you a measuring stick to say, okay, I don't know this. This is the part that I need to learn in order to make it to the next level. So I think that once some people fail and they don't understand how to use failure as a benefit, as a measuring tool, they won't go further. Wow. Yes.
That's real good, because some people don't even realize what's holding them back. Mm-hmm. Like something as simple as you learned from it. That's a good point to say, okay, if you failed, that means that you weren't aware of something. So now you can become aware, but you get stuck.
That was perfect. It brings awareness. Failure brings awareness. And when we, this year for GOLDMIND Consultants, it's the year of the child. Mm-hmm. How can we save our children? And I think the education system, there's a system put in place that, again, we talk about sameness. And when kids fail at certain things in school, it's because you set the standardized way of learning, the standardized way of how you teach, because there has to be a lesson plan, and you have to teach it this way. The kids are expected to learn in a certain period of time. So what you do is you're measuring by a sameness. And listen to this. This is important. I hope that you guys are just listen to this part. There's no two brains alike in the entire world. No two brains alike. What neuroscientists have done in the past is they tried to measure the average brain. And they would put out these studies that were not true. That this is the average brain. This is what is the thing that IQ. So this is the highest level of IQ. This is the highest test score you can get on the SAT, because they tried to measure your ability to learn. But what one neuroscientist did was he studied over 4,000 people. And he actually began to look at these brain scans. And it was just by word recognition. And he realized that the way we recognize a word, it happens in different areas in our brain. It's not just your oracles. It's how you identify a word. So we're not the same. The problem with the school system is we're trying to teach them the same, not recognizing that our brain doesn't respond, doesn't see, doesn't catch on, doesn't do. So we have to learn how people learn. Adults and children alike, we have to learn not what to learn, but how we learn. And how you do it is you have to see how we process information. So goal setting, when we talk about goal setting, 2019, when I talk about living in the moment, it's not about 365 days. It's about the moment that you're in right now. When you're setting a goal, and this is important, when you're setting a goal, every day you should be doing something that gets you closer to your goal. And it's the way you choose to pursue that thing. You have to determine in your mind, in your spirit, in your actions, in your habits, what it's going to take to get to that goal. You can read all the books in the world that tells you how to set a goal, but you have the ability to create your own template, your own tools, your own path, your own strategy to get where you need to be. So anything that you want to accomplish, you have the mental capacity to do it, but you just have to start doing it right. Just think of something. Amanda, the brain, let's go through a coaching session right now. Do you mind going through a coaching session?
Let's go.
Okay. So we want to talk about your Vision Pro business, right? Where do you see yourself? If you had all the money in the world, where would you be right now with your company?
I would have my own TV station.
Okay. All right. How many viewers do you see yourself having?
I would initially start off with the local area.
Okay.
And so citywide, like local broadcasting.
Okay.
And then go national. Because once you get that fan base and you get the people in, I think the national will be the next step.
So, as you can see, I asked Amanda, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? She just limited. So why do you think you just limited your ability with what you want? Why do you think you just did that?
think it's just out of habit because we're always take a step. Even though you said you could have, there is no limits.
No limits.
I still put a limit on it.
So now you ask the question, why do people not go after their goals? Why does it happen? Because we limit it. So where do you think that limitation comes from?
I think just habit. Just, everything is first grade, second grade good. Sometimes, just thinking about, the question, some kids like, well, they're advanced. Your child can take a test and go past this. So that's, not the norm. The norm is, okay, do this, then do this, and then do this. Go to school, and then get the job, and get the promotion. So I think we're taught to step, and not, okay, what if you don't go to college? What if you decide to start your own business? So I think it's out of habit of what's being taught.
So let's see if we can shift your thinking in 2 minutes. You want to try it?
Yeah, why not?
If
it's going to help me, it ain't going to hurt me.
Do you think that you have the ability to go national?
Yes.
What skills? Just give me 2 major skill sets that you have right now that would attract the national audience.
I feel I'm relatable.
Okay.
I feel that I have a heart for people.
Okay. What is your message that you would like to get out nationally?
Be empowered.
Okay. And what does that mean to you?
To be empowered means that you can, like your book, you can do anything you want to do. And we limit ourselves all the time. So that's why my platform is a variety of things, because you don't have to limit yourself. So that's kind of to be empowered to do whatever you put your mind to. And look, now that she's giving me a coaching session and more.
Right.
But to just be empowered to do, because everybody has a gift. And like, even if I reflect on the Bible, like they had streets. The bakers lived on this street. If you wanted something baked, you went to that street because that's where the bakers were.
Right.
If you wanted sword made, you went to this street because that's where the iron makers were. So everybody knew what their gift was, and you had to pick something.
Okay.
By the time you get puberty, you had to pick what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. And you went into that. So it's, as far as just being able to get into your gift, I think we struggle with that a lot.
Okay. So now I want you to think on a national level. I want you to think on a national level. And the one thing that I want anybody that's viewing this program is just work to exercise your brain and get words out of your mind that we were taught to limit ourselves. We were taught, because as we were taught to were we actually taught, or did we hear it and it picked it up? But does it say something about our insecurities?
Yes, I have to agree.
So now we have to, being insecure is a thought. It's not physical. It's something that you think. It's just something that you believe. And then what you have to do is just shift that belief. I'm not insecure. And if your brain says, yes, you are, be like, maybe right now, but I bet you it's about to change. But nationally, how does nationally sound? National thinking, how does that sound to you?
National sounds very good.
Do you have any fear in your mind when you say national?
No, because I believe it's somewhere I can get to. So I don't have a fear for it. Okay. But if you said national today, then there might be a little, but national in general, no.
Okay, so I got to get through that part.
Right.
So national today. What's the first thing that comes to? Because
do I still have all the money in the world, or do I still have all the money?
Guess what? You do have all the money in the world. It's sitting in other people's bank account. They just banking it. They just banking it for. Let me tell you something. I'm sorry, but I say that every day. I'm like, my money is just sitting in people's banks. They just working and they're just putting it in there, and I'm gonna get it. I'm just saving my money, right?
Dropping that in.
But I'm telling you, it's not. I'm not trying to trick myself. Like, I really believe that. I really believe that. And it's just like, what, I'm working and they're putting it in there, and then they're going to give it to me. They're just saving it for me. It's
out there. It's mine. It's just not here. It's there. But it's there. It's still mine, right?
Right.
Okay, I like that.
So national. Because if you say, I believe I can go national, and the brain is like, what?
Yeah.
Now you got to say, well, well, why are you getting like that? What did I do to you to make you respond to me like that? How come you're not responding differently? How come I don't have the belief of all beliefs that this thing is very well going to happen? Have a conversation. The most positive thing you can do is in goal setting is self-talk. When you do the I am,
Yeah.
I am. And sometimes when you say I am, your brain is like, what?
Right.
You got to say, yes, we are.
I am powerful. I am courageous. I'm victorious. Yes.
And it's not the external part of who you are. It's the mental part of who you are.
Yes.
So national.
Woo! All right, I just had a good coaching session. That's real quick.
It's only
Why
quick,
is
but
there an issue when I say national? There shouldn't be an issue. Well, we are going to take a break, and we will be right back.
This is my life, Red's Creative Cuts. But everyone knows it as the hustle. Everyone from the neighborhood comes here to get a cut. That's Fat Boy, the jokester. That's Big OG. He's the heartbeat of this shop. That's right here, sexy, beautiful jazz. And everybody got a hustle. And this is mine.
Going to war, yeah. Kicking the door, yeah. Get on the floor, yeah. We want it all, yeah. Revenge.
What's up, Dollar? I thought we agreed not to do business at the shop.
Black. I can't believe you're back in the streets, man.
Don't worry about that. I already took care of it.
Got Dollar rolling up on me saying the money ain't there, man.
Nigga, I got dollar running up on you.
Got Black.
Who did this to you?
There's something going on with Jay that we need to know about.
The fuck happened with you and Black?
You waiting for a nigga, pull the trigger. Of course, you scared like your bitch ass brother.
Welcome back. I am processing. International is not an option. It is a requirement.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, absolutely.
As you can see, kudos. You're very thorough. You're able to keep the questions rolling and keep the person thinking. And it kept me thinking, and I'm still thinking right now, but we got to get through this interview.
Come on.
So let's talk about your book. Talk to us.
All right, so I wrote this book, I Can Do It. I actually wrote it about, it was like 3 years ago, and I believed I had a story to tell. I had been through so many obstacles, and I was helping a lot of people get where they needed to be, and I used to say, if you can do it, I can do it. But then I learned that I can do what I will myself to do, and you can do what you will yourself to do. So I wanted to show how my trauma shaped my success, because I used it, and I remembered as a kid saying, when I grow up, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be a social worker, I'm going to be a teacher. I just wanted to do something that would assist people living in the inner cities with having a better life, because I saw it, I didn't like it. But at the same time, I was around people who didn't see any better, and they would say, that they were going to have a baby because they needed somebody to love, or they were going to sell drugs. They had a different conversation with themselves. And I can tell that was the conversation with themselves, because it would come out. My conversation came out, when I grow up, I'm going to be this. Their conversation came out, when they grow up, they're going to do that. So I talked about the path, because I have a twin sister. My twin sister never saw greater than the situation, and I always saw greater. So in this book, you'll see that we grew up in the same household, faced some of the same obstacles on the initial onset of our lives, but how I just kept saying, it's going to be better. I'm going to save my family. I'm going to come back and do great in the community. I wanted to be the Harriet Tubman of the community. I wanted to bring people out of bondage, and I wanted to deliver them into freedom where they can do something great. But I didn't understand that the bondage wasn't physical during that time. I saw me physically moving them out of the community. Then as I got older and I started studying mental health and consciousness, I said, wait a minute, the bondage is mental, and then it's physical. So that's the reason why I wrote this book. You'll see me take you through the mental part of what I was going through my childhood up until right now. So I had to step out on faith and write this book, because there were areas of my life that I shared, Amanda, that I was nervous about. I'm serious. I was really nervous about. I tell people, and addiction is serious. So anytime somebody say addiction, they think alcohol, they think drugs. They don't understand that even lust is an addiction. So for me to write that part, that was my demon. Like, it really was. And I'm out here and I'm setting all these goals but as a kid, I would have these thoughts that I couldn't share with anybody else. I couldn't share. So I constantly had that inner conversation with myself. I constantly had it with myself. So I'm obtaining these goals and I'm doing all of this stuff. But the one goal that I couldn't do was get outside of my own head and stop with the thoughts that I had. So you'll see me share that part. There are things that many of you who are trying to set goals are dealing with, and you're afraid to move forward because of those things that you are dealing with within, that you're afraid to have a conversation about. Guess what? I think that even insecurity and constantly having negative conversations about how you see yourself becomes addictive and habit forming, which it causes you to always find an excuse to not do better. And the more you keep it's an addictive, it's habit forming conversation, and it gives you pleasure somehow to find a reason for why you're not doing what you would love to do. So my demon and my spirit was totally dealing with lust, but some people is just self-hate. Some of it can be food. Some of it can be just being negative toward other people and making other people feel bad. That is habit forming. It is addictive. But the thing is, you're not dealing with your internal issues. So I wrote this. I said, listen, I'm being transparent. I tried to cover every single thing about my life that some people probably would never, ever uncover. But if I can be transparent and I'm successful where I am right now, then that would give some young person or maybe some adult the boldness to say, you know what? I do deal with some internal struggles. But only thing I got to do is just forgive myself or find out why I'm thinking this way, but still push forward so that I can live life on purpose.
So it sounds like all of those things, those addictions, are things that hold you back.
Yeah.
So if it holds you back, it could possibly be an addiction.
But guess what, Amanda? It's a mental. It's all mental. I tell people there's no barrier, there's no wall stopping you from moving forward. What's stopping you is your mind, because you're constantly holding on to that thing. If you did something that you didn't like to yourself or someone else, you just got to learn how to forgive. You got to forgive yourself first, or forgive someone else, or forgive yourself for not forgiving somebody else. The greatest thing that you can do to obtain a goal is to forgive and to love unconditionally.
Forgiveness is a key.
No, it really is. It really is. So off the book a little bit, I just want to talk a little bit about goals again, just setting goals. So the biggest thing is just getting your mind right. You'll hear me talk about the mind. You are not who you think you are, but you are what you think. So when we interact with people, we think that we're interacting with people based on what we see. We are interacting with people based on how we think. So your guests that you invite to the show, you believe that your guests are positive, that they have something to offer, but they connect with you in some way. So you're like, you know what, this will be beneficial to the audience. It's not because of the way they look.
Right.
It's not who they are. It's what they do. Somebody else may think differently about them, but you don't. So you invite them here. You and I, being able to communicate with each other, there's a connection. There's not a connection because of the way we look. There's a connection because of the way we think. So the first thing in goal setting is identifying the way you think. You can't set a goal. You can't reach it. You can set a goal all day. People are like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You can set it, but you cannot obtain it if you don't understand how you think. If you don't understand, if you think negative, that's going to be your barrier. So the first thing is to the self-talk. What words are you saying within that's going to either catapult you forward or push you backwards? Because if you're not doing something, it doesn't mean that you're standing still. You could just as well be getting worse. Wow. So the first thing is self-talk, how you think internally.
Talk to yourself right.
Come on.
Why are you talking to yourself like that?
Yeah. So, and another thing you want to do is just find an outlet. If you meditate, if you pray, if you have positive people that you can talk to, try your best. If you're having issues, internal issues, find a safe place. And I'm not talking about a building. I'm talking about somebody that you can communicate with, that you can trust, but that's going to lead you spiritually and mentally in the right place, where you are going to be able to leave that thing right where it's at and move forward. Don't just be cognizant of the person that you're communicating with that's going to keep you in that mess. Girl, I can't believe what your boss did what, and they, it's just like somebody got promoted over you. Then you call one of your friends and like, yeah, I can't believe they promoted. I'm better than that person and this and that. Try to find that person that'll say, you know what? Okay, let's take a step back.
Yes.
Let's figure out what they're looking for and what could you do today so that you can get where you need to be. Now, depending on your mindset, you might be thinking that person's trying to attack you and saying you're not good enough. That's not what's being said. They're asking you, if another promotion is coming out, how can you make sure you're prepared for that? So just try to find an accountability partner. I call it an accountability partnership. Find somebody who's going to hold you accountable for what you say you want. So what's happening is you're taking your self-talk and their self-talk, and you're holding yourself accountable in the positive so that you can get closer to that goal, self-talk. A third thing that I want to say is healthy eating. You have to feed your body, but most importantly, you have to feed your brain. Do you know when you eat, your brain absorbs more food than the rest of your body does? And people don't think that because they don't see their head getting bigger. It seems to them that everything else is getting bigger. Right. My brain don't look like it's gaining weight, but your brain absorbs more water and more food than the rest of your body. Our cells have a digestive system. Do you know that our cells actually release waste? So it takes in food, it releases waste, it takes in the nutrients that it needs. If you are not taking in the proper food to feed your brain, then guess what? It'll be your brain, your thought process will be cloudy, you'll feel sluggish, you'll feel down, but you need your brain in order to communicate with the rest of your body. So start doing some research and find out what you need to feed your brain so that you could obtain those goals, but you need a healthy brain. You absolutely need a healthy brain, but that's just three. That's just three. But go ahead.
And nobody really talks about that too much. Is that what you're eating does affect your brain? But I didn't think about the waste that it's taking in something, it's spitting out something.
It's spitting it out.
Wow.
And also I talked about before. I said even with the way you stress, you're feeding your brain because there are chemicals that are released in your brain, and you could very well be causing brain cells to die off that will never ever come again. Those brain cells could be connected to your heart, your digestive system. I had alopecia for a long time, and I went to the dermatologist, and the dermatologist said, "What are you stressing about?" I said, "I'm not stressing about anything." She said, "You are. That's why you're getting those patches in your hair." And she said, now those brain cells for your hair, they aren't reproducing because you're constantly stressing. When cells die, they don't reproduce itself.
Wow.
There's nothing that could be done on that level if you don't go out and get the help that you need. So what I did when she started giving me the shots, I started getting the steroid shots so that other cells could reproduce itself. At that point, I monitored everything I thought. What are you thinking? Where's that coming from? Nope, we can't do that because I love my hair. So, and I love my body. So that's just something to think about. You do have to monitor what you think, what you eat, your goals, your optimism, your ability to do. You have to believe that you can. That's where healing starts, just to believe that you can.
Ooh. As you can see, she talks heavy, but she knows her stuff. If somebody want to get in contact with you, how could they do that?
On Facebook, we have the GOLDMIND Consultant Group. Please join that. It's an accountability group. Right now we have about 1,200 people following right now. We want to know what you're doing and what we can help you do to get to the next level. We're trying to build a community of positive thinkers. Let's just get rid of the negative stuff and do something more productive. So you can reach me on Facebook. I'm also Stacey GOLDMIND on Facebook. And on Instagram, I'm GOLDMIND Consultants, LLC. So it's all about positive thinking. Change your thinking, change your life.
All right. We're going to end on that note. Change your thinking, change your life. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Amanda.
And see you next time.
Bye.
Take to where we were before. Summer 2012 was the best I ever known. 'Cause one of those days you came my way, made it hard to stay away. I felt the chemistry on it. Was it written on my face when you gave me a time and place and took me on the perfect date? Oh, oh. Look at how far we've come, far we've come, how far we've come, far we've come, and how far we've come, far we've come, how far we've come, far we've come. Yeah, we were really cute back then, but let's get to the truth. Back when it wasn't always easy, you did your best just to please me. And even when I gave you a hard time and couldn't tell you what was on my mind, oh, you were persistent, made sure I knew what I'd be missing. How far we've come, far we've come, how far we've come, far we've come, and how far we've come, far we've come, how far we've come, far we've come. And they say yes, heartbreakers, debaters, and player haters will do what they will, but here we are still. The naysayers, heartbreakers, debaters, and player haters will do what they will, but here we are still. Look at how far we've come.